Hello, my dear and lovely, lovely Libra. Welcome to January 2020 to your situationship reading. This will be a reading for love situationships, usually for the single. However, with any soulmate energies that exist, there will be a chance for you to see three iterations, three different portals in which you can open and find some resonance for you to envision some sort of semblance of your love situationships. Okay. Um, yeah. So today we'll open up the first portal with the Tarot of Forbidden Dreams, a lovely deck from Geneva, Switzerland. And the first portal would be an erotic read. I'll try not to show too many of the cards because they are quite erotic. First portal, clearing the energy, and we'll be opening up the portal and get straight into the reading. Please relax, and you can clear your mind of any energies. If there are any thoughts that come through your mind, let them flow through naturally. Please relax. There is some nostalgia here. I'm getting over nostalgia about something that was potentially very toxic for you. Something from the past. Or getting over that, letting it go. Okay. The portal is now open. Yeah. There's a type of potential thing that has to do with the Cups energy. The Five of Cups is showing up, and it is like seeing a great potential that's there, and you happen to be in the middle of something and getting attention from a number of different suitors or perhaps multiple parties. And in this action, you are exhibiting your potency, and it's becoming very hard for others to resist, but they watch in amazement. There is a hands-off sort of approach to this, and I think you are playing the seductor or the temptress, something of this ilk, in which people can see you from a distance, and this is causing a great deal of regret on their end, because there seems to be like a non-communicative approach. You seem to have tunnel vision in some respect in this first portal. What you're looking at is directly at the Ace of Coins, some sort of great potential new birth or some sort of new project that's coming into fruition. It's as if you are creating legacy or creating some sort of new thing that has to do with your own feminine ability to manifest a great deal of wealth as well as prosperity. Some sort of new project I see here, a project that has to do with something romantic, something extremely romantic, perhaps that is tied directly to a feeling or a situation from the past in which heartbreak occurred. There was a mutual sort of falling out. Somebody here just lost interest, and I think it's both parties. Some sort of impotence or some fleeting falling out is coming in and creating some sort of newness for you. So materially, you are doing well in January 2020. And it seems to me that anything that you're working on in terms of finance or stability is coming into fruition. Also, it speaks of commitments of a number of things, but I don't think it has anything to do with commitment with anyone so far. If you are committed, there is a sort of falling out or something with the Three of Swords here, potentially. Um, yeah, some sort of disagreement, or with the Five of Cups, which I mentioned earlier, some sort of distance and disagreement. There's a new beginning though with your projects, and this has to do with you coming into victory and celebrating a great sense of victory, and attention. There's a lot of attention coming to you regardless from a number of things. Your community and your society will recognize you as something or someone who is coming into great wealth. It seems like last year was just generally bad for you. We have the Three of Swords and the Ten of Swords in reverse. Memory and the cycles of memory of any sort of past occurrences with your love life have been extremely difficult, very difficult indeed. It's caused a great deal of injustice, and there is almost a fleeting sense that karma has not been so very good in terms of the wheel and how it spins, and how you have either taken your power back. It's been quite the mental thing. Psychologically, it seems like there's a great deal of a need for grounding this month, grounding in some sort of friendship. There may be a potential someone who is very much erotically inclined towards you in the month of January, but I think you generally are looking elsewhere. And you're not very interested, or perhaps there is passion there, but there is a general disinterest. As you see, the lady is looking off into something. What she is looking towards is something more intense, something that actually means a great deal in terms of the Six of Cups energy. It's like a stronger connection, more intimacy. These are all sort of key motifs with something that you're trying to manifest in the month of January, 2020 being a year of manifestation, and 22, if you break it down, is a strong number. Look to 2002 if you're old enough to find some sort of resonance with what you've accomplished. For me personally, around 2002, I graduated from high school or college. I can't remember which. No, it was high school, which is fantastic. So there seems to be a rite of passage this year, and there's going to be some sort of culmination of something. And you seem disinterested in a lot of what romance has to offer, at least in January 2020. And it's important that you recognize this sort of this lack of passion, or perhaps that your passions lie elsewhere in some sort of either materiality with the Ace of Wands or the Six of Wands, some sort of like you're going to be admired by a lot of people, apparently. In the year of 2020, as well as in January. January will be a very good month for you. It seems to me that with a past situation, there was some sort of need to get away from over the overburdened nature of passions, overwhelming passions. These are subsiding in a certain way, and you're after a type of grounding through the Ace, as well as the Ten of Coins here, the Ten of Pentacles, and the Ace of Pentacles showing up in strong as something where you want to encompass a great cycle when it comes to projects or great commitments with significant others. You actually want, there's something about your desire to create family structures and to create societies based on the Pentacles cycle. So materiality is huge right now. There's a lot of feminine energy running through you, and there is an ability that you have a great deal of emotions to offer, and you are not willing to give those off so easily. Like you'd rather have people fixate on you in different ways rather than in very direct ways. It's rather indirect. Your approach is very indirect in the month of January, because you want to balance out Pentacle cycles. and that's what I'm seeing. Slow beginnings with anything that has to do with teamwork or anything from the past. Once again, the Seven of Coins showing up in the reverse. Some sort of nostalgia about a previous commitment is still tinkering with your idea of stability is coming into huge question. And there also is a type of new beginning that's slow in coming. You have to wait for the wheel to turn in order for this to actually work well for you. The Wheel of Fortune is in the reverse, so timing is a bit off, and I think you're taking 2020 very slowly but surely. Yeah, definitely. Okay, that is the first iteration. I'm going to switch decks. And that was, once again, Tarot of Forbidden Dreams, extreme erotic deck. I'm done with that deck, so you can go ahead and not worry if those cycles offend you. I'm switching over to the 1890 deck. It's the deck from Alietta, the great occultist from the French school. This is 1890, so the deck is about 100 years old, about 130 years old. Very good deck. And I'll clear the energy of the deck. The first portal is closed now. And we'll get started. Love is showing up. Your ability to manifest love is coming in strong for January 2020. There is an ability to use elementary forces of the universe to manifest Two of Cups energy. And this will be a healing aspect. I think your hands in particular, in the month of January, will be charged with kinetic energy. And these cards are ready. So, yeah. That's right. Okay, there is there is a celestial cycle here that I am foreseeing that is tied around the energy of Virgo with Jour, the cycle number 6 here. There is some sort of reflection, a reflection of the nature of the sun and the moon and the cycles that occur between them. Something about the cycle between the two major planets in our solar system. Well, one of them's the sun, but it's still considered a planetary influence in astrology. But what I'm trying to say is that there is a way of viewing this that is hidden to you, that you haven't figured out the difference between father and mother, and the difference between inner wisdom and outer wisdom, and reflection versus higher consciousness, some sort of mind versus higher consciousness battle here, that you have to realize there's something very effective that is your mind in the month of January. And it seems to me that you've arrived at some sort of new romance with Arrive here. The Knight of Cups is showing up. And the Knight of Cups usually indicates a heavy romantic undertone when it comes to some sort of newness. It's a new romance in the month of January for you. And there also is a sort of just defiance, which is a sort of, with this, the Nine of Swords energy usually indicates fear or holdbacks, as well as a type of fanaticism or a type of prayer. But in the reverse, it's like you have almost revolted against higher powers or premonitions or anything that has to do with like God fearing. It seems like you've embraced a certain power that's inside of you that has to do with this God element, and it's taking the form of romance, okay? And this is helping you to define idealistically through the card of joie, joie, the the mind is taking precedence over higher consciousness, and it's idealizing a type of newness, a new idea when it comes to love. After a great deal of rumination and a great deal of dream work, it seems like you are reaching some sort of newness that has to do with the end of the cycle, and the end of indecision here, with the Two of Swords and the Nine of Rods in the reverse. Well, the Nine of Rods is in the upright, but the Two of Swords is in the reverse. That indicates to me no longer indecision. This is your card, by the way. Be careful of this card though, because indecision is actually a good thing, because you're trying to balance out external forces with the Two of Swords and trying to cut out whatever doesn't intuitively feel right. But with faux here, which is like a fake quality, an artificial quality, it seems like you may have adopted some sort of new idea about love, for example, that is not necessarily, it's out of tiredness or out of the burden of the Nine of Rods energy that you're taking this, okay? So you're taking this like approach that you've burnt out in a certain way, and you've made a choice. After making this choice, it's like artificial. It has to do with a new love and a way of adopting a style of love that's idealized and romanticized heavily. But don't worry, there is judgment here, and anything from the past has been closed off completely. Judgment comes up, and it's in the reverse. So judgment, of course, is the call from the trumpeter, and the ability for the trumpeter to bring back anything that needs to be brought back in order to exact some sort of judgment. Anything from the past is being repressed in a certain way, but held back in a better way, as well as buried, completely buried and left aside. So there's a sense of release here, and this release is causing a great deal of joy for you in the month of January, which is fantastic. Also, there is a possibility that the femme en place, which is the the Queen of Cups, is here, and she's in the reverse. So her emotions are uncontrolled. These could be your emotions. This can be someone you're dealing with, but the emotional sort of response after this joy comes out will be overflowing and very hard to balance out emotions in the month of January. Potentially there will be a welling of these, and this will be augmented in a certain way with the wheel showing up here. And wheel usually indicates some sort of change in social dynamics. So a friend become a lover become a friend. In your love situation, there could be a friend who may be augmented in a certain way or raised up in status, or you brought down a notch. This talks about ego death, as well as the complete and arbitrary nature of things out of your control. And there is an element of almost an exacting element. That's it. Usually when the wheel shows up like this in the upright, it's chaotic. But like this, it's like almost orchestrated in some sort of way. Also, it could indicate a very slow approach towards this augmentation. It's more methodical, but taking more time. Therefore, your idealization of this romance may actually take a bit of time, and you will be sitting there with the Queen of Swords energy, or definitely the Queen of Swords energy, which because of your welling emotions, you are now relying on logic and your way of idealizing this romance that comes from within through the Cups energy that wells up. You to go ahead and challenge your own thoughts and your own ideas, or even more sort of imbalance, not imbalance, but trying to work things out. There's something about your stability as well as mm, your stability as well as your ability to come into victory. Both are in contention. There's something very sincere about anything that has to do with domesticity, with your ability to live out and live proudly, some sort of communal effort. With the Six of Rods, it talks about victory, but victory on some sort of structural creation. So like the augmentation that happens um, with the wheel here in reverse, there's some sort of raising up of affairs, of statuses, and this is leading to victory. But also, it's making you question some sort of stability when it comes to your emotional contentment. It seems to me that your emotions are in need of check in this month. And when it comes to this person, they seem to be quite concerned with astrological influences, and also there's a lot of ego behind what they do, as well as there's a feeling of kind of being left out in a certain way. We have amante here, which is love, love. There is a type of, with the Five of Pentacles, some sort of aggression or some sort of intense struggle here with pentacle cycles. And because the Eight of Pentacles is here, there is some sort of a need for patience. But when it comes to commitments, it's like there is not enough patience there. We have Mars energy here, a lot of Aries energy, as well as Leo energy. These pentacles come up as very fiery, so there's something about it's like balls of fire are coming down from the ether and creating a great deal of calamity on your earth, and it's very difficult for you to ground yourself, or perhaps find some sort of commitment or method behind commitments. So your emotions, as well as your earth, your materiality, your ability to manifest will come into question. You'll have a lot of drive, but only after being left out of a certain situation. Now back to love. Back to love. There's no growth in a certain situation that seems like a force majeure. You could be dealing with a Capricorn, or potentially with the High Priestess energy here, number 7. There is a type of non-growth when it comes to a situation, because there are shackles that hold you back. There could be someone that you're working with in terms of love that is holding back your equilibrium, and because of this, there is a force majeure. There is a type of forced submission to or entanglement on a karmic level with someone, and it's very intense because they take your energy away and you can't expand as you should with the Venusian energy with Taurus and Libra through the High Priestess. Usually when this card is in the upright appuyé, there's like a sense of being watched over by the heavens and like being guided and having growth. This is the High Priestess card in this deck. But in reverse, it's like there is a type of conservation, as well as an extreme waiting period, because there is essentially this devil energy, the need to structure things, but then they become binding in a certain way. And if you're tired with someone or are romantically inclined towards someone, there is definitely a holdback because of this energy, the force majeure. However, you have a great deal of ambition, and I would recommend that you not take the Two of Pentacles or the Six of Pentacles energy. Take the reverse and make a choice towards releasing these pent-up emotions with the Chariot dissension. The Chariot in reverse usually indicates a great potential energy for manifestation through the water, through the waters of creation. And there is some sort of need for you to go ahead and express certain things about your intuition, about your vision, about your creativity that needs expression. in the month of January. Let's move on. So I'm going to switch decks. That portal is closed. Iteration number 2 is closed. Yeah, I'm gonna try to focus a bit and pull in another energy that should scream to me a bit louder about potential others. So here we have the Royal Fez Moroccan deck, 1975. Very strong deck, my best deck, one of my best. So I will go ahead and clear the energy of the deck and we'll get started. Okay. Interesting. There's a movement here, a movement towards strength, towards the ability to use the universal forces to control inner desires and to control any sort of inner darknesses or inner imbalances within you, and to control animalistic drives and the nature of humanity, to ring those in and to become divine in some sort of way. Strength card, okay? Could be dealing with a Leo, potentially. Right below that, there's another card that is the Emperor, coming into control, coming into power. There's a great deal of control in January, and you may be dealing with a controlling individual who not only watches over their domain, but also watches within themselves as well. You have come into some sort of victory here in January. There's a movement towards the celebration of an idea or of a project. Some sort of recognition is coming to you in January. But behind this, there is also a type of energy that has to do with entanglement. It seems like your victory is tied with a type of binding agent with the devil energy, some sort of intense dynamic here where your power is linked to some sort of control aspect, some sort of deep, intense control aspect. So there may be victory with this individual, but there's a great deal of sexual energy that needs to be tamed in some sort of way and to be controlled. When it comes to the metaphysical territory between you and this person, there is a need to establish borders and boundaries. However, I think because you sit with the Six of Rods, you've already established that as a conqueror, you may have moved into their domain and perhaps controlled a great deal of their property as well as intellectual property, their field of influence. And they may see you as someone who is a victor as well as quite strong. But overall, it's good because we have another Leo energy here, the Sun card. And there is a great deal of celebration as well as manifestation. Anything that has to do with happiness is here in January. And it may have to do with some sort of secret connection with the Six of Cups energy in reverse here. It's one that brings in a hidden nostalgia that may come up and crop up in the later month to you as something as quite effective in holding the glue that holds this situationship together. But there is some sort of hidden fear that has to do with you coming into balance and to recognize and weigh out the pros and cons of a certain contract with this person. It seems to be written clearly and quite legible and quite readable. But there is a nature to this love that is highly reflective, okay? Both of you are essentially tired of the energies from the past. Anything that do with manipulation, you're over that. But between that, there is this triple energy here. And let me set it up for you. So we have the Lovers and the Six of Swords. No, the Seven of Swords in reverse. Yeah, Seven of Swords in reverse, as well as the Devil card. So there's a straight up mirror between both of you, and it could be reflexive. One person sitting with the energy of Gemini, the other with Capricorn, and between you two, it's the Seven of Swords energy. Any air sign, detachment, usually detachment. So there is a sort of detached quality when it comes to this love, and this is very it's not only detached, it's attached. Okay, so there's like an attachment. There's like an immediate, when you know this person triggers in you a type of immediate attachment as well as repulsion at the same time. There's a gravity that's very strong, and it's centralized around this energy, the Seven of Swords energy in reverse, which talks to me of detachment in general, as well as um, it's not darkness. It's not like someone's thieving or anything. Um, you're both trying to avoid this behavior, and it seems to be an upfront sort of conversation whenever you guys talk. It's either the Six of Swords energy or the Eight of Swords energy, which is all about talking about psychological processes of the mind, how they've held you back, how prisons have held you back, how you've had to break free from them, and then take the Six of Swords energy, which is escapism. There's an energy that oscillates in between these two, so imprisonment and then escapism that has to do with this binding agent here when it comes to sex, as well as relationships that are karmic, as well as this energy here, which is of course the lover's very strong energy here that is mandated by the celestial heavens. There's a jump between these two, and it may be hard for you to discern in the month of January whether this person and your relationship connection between you two is karmic or a soul tie or something different. So that's what I'm seeing. Okay, as far as advice goes, I have the Ivan Bilibin deck from Russia. And when it comes to this third iteration, I want to get advice for. Okay. First of all, there are hidden loyalties to a type of home that you've had to reckon with during the Christmas season and anything like that. You've had to be called back to a certain situation that involved family and home. The idea of this, and there may be a chance that you've lost some sort of pet, or that your loyalties have gone elsewhere, or perhaps you're trying to reconnect your sense of loyalty to the idea of home as a structure, mostly as a structure for grounding. Also, there's something you're looking at away from commitment. So your card comes up as the main woman, and she's looking away from commitment. What she's looking towards is this thing here, the crossroads. And there's usually at the crossroads there's a sense of indecision, a choice to be made, but because of this being in the reverse here, there is an opportunity for you to potentially make a choice, So it's like that Two of Swords energy in reverse. Somehow that card is very strong in the first portal, or it's the second portal. Yeah, the second portal with the 1890 deck. There is a need for you to equip a type of Queen of Swords energy that you have already taken, and you're looking to a choice to be made, to be cut out, or to make into union some sort of situation, into a relationship. From situationship to relationship, there's something here that you may be avoiding because you want to revisit a choice to be made and to make that choice. So there may be a chance that you are dealing with multiple suitors, maybe one or two, or perhaps you are ignoring one of them to move on to another, to choose a path between one or the other, to revisit that crossroads. Okay, bottom of the deck, let's see. Yeah, there's something about the Six of Cups energy here that is still ringing true for you, something from the past, some sort of wisdom that you've inherited from your foremothers. There's something about that that could be of wisdom for you. All right, my dear Libra, this is Ron from Tarot of the Twin Sun. I will speak to you in the mid-month of January for the Great Mirror reading, and I invite you to like, share, and subscribe, and any of that. So, peace, namaste, and lila and metta to you. Ciao.